Hi everyone, I'm Sarah at Childhood Finds, and thank you for joining me for part 2 of my September sales. And we're gonna jump right into it, but thank you again for joining me for this. If you haven't watched part 1, I'll link that in the description. And then once part 3 is out, I will also link that down in the description if you'd like to watch either of those. But otherwise, let's just get going. First one is just a plush that's nostalgic to me. It's very cute. It's just a vintage Land Before Time Littlefoot long neck dinosaur gunned plush. It was 15 inches. It was in great condition. I took a best offer of $16 for it. I paid $1 at a thrift store, and it took a fair amount of time to sell, quite a while, but it was fine. It was cute. This is Dragonfly in Amber by Diana Gabaldon, and I picked this up with Outlander that was in part 1, and this was a third printing. It was a first edition, but third printing, and I just, again, share these to show you that it doesn't always have to be a first to have some value for you. I have about $1 into this. It sold for full asking at $23, and it was not in great condition. The book itself was in pretty good condition, but the dust jacket had some stuff, left a little to be desired. But it did sell very quickly within a couple weeks. This is a Fenton Pink Holly Berry plate dish, footed, handmade in USA, and it was from the 1990s. I could tell that by the stamp on the back, or yeah, let's see if I can pull that up, the mark. I know I have that. Oh, you can barely see it, but you can tell by the mark on some of these guys when it was made. And it did have its little sticker here. And this is, again, just to tell you to, even though you don't want to get out at the yard sale, get out at the yard sale. This was one of those that we drove up to it, both made a face, because we're like, we don't want to get out of the car. We'd already been going for a couple hours. We were tired. Didn't think there'd be anything at this yard sale. And one of the things I found with this dish that sold for $75. We also found a DVD, Blu-ray, some sort of player like that, and it sold for $80. So get out of the car, even if you don't want to. I'm still guilty of doing maybe we just pass this one, but I should be getting out because there could be gold there. But this sold in a few months. This guy is delightful. This is a Bubble Breezer Fart Bubbles Machine novelty gag gift. It's from Jemmy, which I like to pick up Jemmy. Jemmy is great, and it was from 2004. And yes, the little bubbles would come out of his tushy hair. Just delightful. I was tempted to keep him just because we paid $0.25 for this, so, and it sold for full asking at $30 in a couple of months. This is a Holy Bible Super Giant Print Reference Blue Leather Soft Red Letter Edition. And typically when you see leather soft, that means you're looking at faux leather. It's just a prettier way of saying it. And I took, did I already say? I might have said I took best offer 24, but if I didn't, 24. And I think this sold, or not sold, but I think I picked this up for $1 or $2. And it sold in a month or two. This is a Leopold BX2 Cascade Binoculars Roof Prism Case and Box. This, I did not list it as new, but these were definitely new in the sense that these had never been used. Absolutely not. They were in immaculate condition. It sold on a best offer for, I believe, $145. The buyer left me very kind feedback and sent me a message and was very happy with them. I paid up for these. I paid up at a recent estate sale that I talked about in the previous video where I got the Easton Press and the lens coat covers. If you haven't watched that, go watch that and you'll see what I mean. And I paid $40 for these, which is a lot for me, guys. $40 for one item is wild. Though I haven't shared with you, I did pay $75 for an item at an estate sale a couple weeks ago. That has been a goal this year, is to be willing to pay up for items that are really nice, that can bring a lot. Because this brings me, I mean, after fees, of course, it's not $100, but near $100 of profit. I mean, that's an excellent return on your investment. So even though it's not the like 10 times profit that I'm used to, it's still excellent. So I'm trying my best to pay up and not be so cheap. Just call me cheap, it's fine. This is a San Francisco 49ers belt buckle, team NFL football. It was from 1986. It was a limited edition. Sold for full asking of $23. I have about $1 into this. I got this in a little recent bulk buckle buy that I think I shared in a video, on a haul video at one point. And it sold in a month or two. I am loving belt buckles. I have started picking up a bunch of them. I love them. They're so easy to pack and ship, and they bring pretty good profits. They're not, a lot of them aren't massive money. You're looking at 10 to 20s for a lot of them. But when you're paying $1 for it, I'm good with that. This one actually was a really good one. This is a Homestake Mine brass belt buckle, and it's from 1981. I absolutely wouldn't have priced this what I did if I didn't do WorthPoint. So I am probably only, so I just tried out WorthPoint this month because I've gotten a ton of things that are just not as frequently coming to the market, so it's hard to look them up without a WorthPoint account. So likely I'm just going to keep my WorthPoint for these heavy sourcing months, and during the winter I will probably let it lapse because it is expensive, guys. But if I hadn't have had WorthPoint and looked this up there, I would have priced this at $25. I was just about to, and then I thought, man, I'll look it up. It might be worth more. It absolutely, it sold for $60. And that's an excellent profit. We have like a quarter into this thing, and I had no idea it would be this valuable. So WorthPoint has paid off, and I have been able to look up quite a few things. So it's been worth it for right now. I probably won't keep it year round. We'll see what happens, but I think it's $29 a month. So it's a pretty penny, but it's been paying off for me for right now. So I'll keep it while it's doing that. This is a vintage Forstner gold tone sterling silver duck bird figural brooch pin. I picked this up at an estate sale that we went to in February and got a whole bunch of stuff, paid $1 or less for it. Took since February to sell, but sold for $16, and it takes up this much space, so I don't mind if items take for a while to sell, especially when they're this big. This thing, you guys have heard me talk about other items in my videos where I just go, I hate this thing. I never want to see it again. It's just been sitting and staring at me for years. It's a Reuter original German shadow box diorama with kitchen miniature tea set dog Delft. Delft is the blue and white. I think I had it priced too high for too long, and so it was definitely my fault that it continued to stare at me. And I can tell you it's been years because this picture is trash, 100% trash. And I remember taking the pictures where this was quite a long time ago, and I have stepped up a tiny bit at least now, and this sold for $20. I kind of remember where we got this. I paid a few bucks for it. It's gone. It's gone. This is a Child of Mine Carter's Lovey Plush Rattle Bear security blanket. Has little pink raised dots. That's something that people search for when they look for these guys. And I probably have $1 into this, and it sold for full asking at $12. It took a couple months to sell, but that's totally fine because it's small and it squishes down. This is an antique Victorian photo album, empty, and it has a metal clasp, brown, and it's gilt edge. It's beautiful. I love this stuff, and we got this at big estate sales that we went to recently. Sold for $25, have maybe $1 into it, but this was, I talked about this in the haul video where we went over some of the stuff I got there, and this was on the third pass we went through that sale, so we were still finding amazing stuff 3 rounds in of buying from this sale. This is a Little Women 1912 by Louisa M. Alcott, illustrated by Alice Stevens. It's antique, and I took a best offer of $35 because it wasn't in excellent condition by any means. I mean, that cover leaves a little bit to be desired there, so not perfect condition. And I just showed all that in the pictures and got a best offer for it. I have maybe $1 into this. It came from the big estate sales we went to. Again, amazing stuff came out of those sales. So grateful for those sales. but this sold quickly. This is a vintage 90s Los Angeles Raiders black arch starter NFL hat. And it is as is. There's some condition issues that I shared. I sent out a best offer of a $95 for this, and it got accepted by someone. I have 8 cents into this hat. It was from my bulk hat buy, and I did some cleaning on it, got it in decent-ish shape, and sold in less than a week or so. I really am excited by this sale because that's an amazing return, and just helped me learn more about hats and what to look for. Because if you find the wool one of this in the starters, you're looking at a ton of money, even if it's trashed. I always find it wild, the high dollar items that will sell, and people put like zero effort into the pictures. They just like throw it on their bed with tissues and all sorts of random crud on their bed, show their feet, everything. And it'll still sell if it's really desirable. So yes, it's good to have good pictures, but it doesn't always matter. This thing was really cool, and it was in excellent condition, except the little handle on it here was very crudely glued. But it was a Turn-a-Tune 8 discs of classic children's songs with box, 1958. I just said it was as is and untested because you needed that little thing to crank it, and you couldn't crank it because it was too delicate. And so I just said that all repair and any testing will be left to the buyer, but otherwise it was in beautiful condition. So it would have sold for more if it was in perfect condition, but having the box was amazing. This is super cool older piece. This is an antique deep well, walnut frame, gold gilt inner rim, sepia California farm wagon. So that's just going off what is inside of it. And this sold very quickly for $40. And I do know it's California farm because of the collection I bought, and that is where all the pictures were from. And this went to a buyer in California, so someone else is appreciating it, and it sold very quick. And this came from a big bulk frame buy, and it was, so I think I'm just gonna say roughly $3 into it, because I did one big bulk purchase where it was $4 per frame, and then I did another smaller bulk purchase where it was $1 a frame. So we'll say roughly $3 or so into it. This is a St. John signed clip-on gold tone rhinestone earrings. Sold for a best offer $25, have $2 into them, and sold quickly, super easy to pack, ship, list, store. Tactics and Manual for Knights Templar, 1895 hardcover antique. It was the 12th edition, and it sold for a best offer of $80. The buyer is very happy with this one. I have about $1 into this, and it sold in a few weeks. This I'm sharing because I do sell seashells frequently, but I slowed down in picking them up because they do take a long time to sell. So they do sell for good money or decent money, but you will stare at them for a while. So this is a large 8.5 by 7 inch abalone shell, iridescent seashell, decorative smudging jewelry. So I use those keywords because those are all things that it's used for. And I took a best offer of $18. I have $1 probably into this abalone shell or so. And it took, I don't know, 6 to 10 months to sell. I don't remember between them, but that's typically my time frame of these guys. I was excited about these. So this is Black Rifle Coffee Company t-shirt, Boston Tea Party ship graphic. It's a men's medium. I picked up 16 of these shirts from one sale for $4 for all of them. So I have $1/4 into this, and I don't love clothing, but these are selling really fast, and I think I've sold 4 or 5 of them, and they're selling for right around the $15 to $20 mark, each one. And I think that's amazing, and I'll definitely take that when they're nice, easy sales. And I like clothing for the aspect of really easy to ship. So it's not like other items that I've showed that take me 15 to 20 minutes or around there to pack it properly, 10 to 20 minutes. It takes me a minute to pack this, to get it, pack it, label it, throw it in my bag. So I do like clothing for that aspect. And this one went for $15 within a couple days. This is The Fires of Heaven by Robert Jordan. It is number 5. I'd never seen this one before. It's a book club edition as well. Sold for full asking of $19. I did pay $3 for it, so not a massive profit, but decent. And it sold within a couple days, so I'm always picking up Robert Jordan if it's cheap and I can find it. This is a Baby Gunned pink 11-inch satin dolly with blonde hair and blue eyes, plush, and it had a number on the tag. So that's where that number comes from. So if someone happens to need to search for that number, that's why I added in the title. And it sold for full asking of $20. I probably have $1 into this. This one I kind of remember listing, so it took a few months to sell. This is another signed Anne Rice. It's Lasher, and it's a first edition, first printing, and I did put personalized here. And it sold for best offer of $40, I believe, and I have 5 into this one as well. And it sold, I think, a couple months roughly that I had this one. This is a Disney Store Tim Burton Frankenweenie plush Sparky dog. It had posable legs you can move around. It sold for full asking of $50. It took a few months, but I have 50 cents into this because this was a late in the day yard sale we went to, and there was a box of plush, and I dug through it, and this was sitting there, and 50 cents into $50. So that's why I do love plush, because it's always surprising. The next stuff I'm going to show you is on Poshmark, and I had 2 bundles on Poshmark that were pretty decent money and decent sales, so I really do enjoy that bundling aspect. Just not as much when they do books, because the books always weigh more than, I always have to upgrade labels. I haven't canceled one yet. I've just typically upgraded the label because it's enough money that I'm still happy with the profit to upgrade it. But let me show you those, and then we'll almost be done with part 2. I'm trying to go a little quicker through some of these videos so that you guys don't all have half-hour videos of me to watch. This is 2 seashells that were in this bundle, and this is Queen Conch, Conch seashell, extra large, 10-inch by 8 inches. It was 3.5 pounds. It was big, and this is again another thing where seashells sell, but they take a long time to sell. So this is probably 9 to 10 months at least that I had this listed, but it sold for so this didn't sell for $35. The bundle, this shell and the next shell I'm showing you, sold for $59.50 together because I have a buy 2 get 15% off discount in my Poshmark store. You can set that up, and that's definitely part of why I get bundles, is having that little discount there. And so this one and this one as well sold. Another Queen Conch seashell that's a little smaller, 6 by 8 inches. And these guys I was able to pack up well and got it under the 5 pounds and shipped it out. So buyer was really happy with them. I will start trying to pick up more shells. It's just I have to watch my space because these take up a lot of space, and they're there for a while. They collect a little dust. This is going to be a lot of 2 hats for the same buyer on Poshmark. And this is a Willow Park Gold Club hat snapback, made in USA, vintage as is, because it had some discoloration. It was a little, had a little bit of gunk on it. Maybe gunk's not the right word. It had been worn, and you could tell it had been worn. Let's go with that. And this hat in the next one I'm showing went for $60. So this one, and then this Oilers corduroy hat cap, the classic Ted Fletcher blue orange NHL Jensen's. I don't really know what I just read. I don't remember making this title. Ted Fletcher must be part of the Oilers. Jensen's maybe that's the brand. Maybe it's on the hat. Oh, Jensen's is on the hat. Look at me go. Is Ted Fletcher on the hat? Ted Fletcher's on the hat too. Fantastic. That's where I got those. I had no idea. Because again, I'm not a sports person, guys. I gotta Google Lens these. But I got both of these in that big hat buy. So I have 16 cents into these 2 hats that sold for $60 on Poshmark. All right, thank you for joining me for part 2. Remember to keep an eye out for part 3, and I will see you there.